The spotlight hit me like a slap. Harsh, unforgiving, the kind that strips away illusions. But this wasn't a theater. It was a rain-soaked alley in downtown Los Angeles, and my audience was a cluster of indifferent passersby huddled under umbrellas. At 60, I, Elena Vasquez, once the queen of off-Broadway stages, was reduced to reciting Shakespeare to pigeons and the occasional drunk. To be or not to be, I bellowed, my voice cracking against the thunder. Little did I know, as I clutched my tattered script, that a letter in my backpack, unopened, soaked through, held the key to $30 million and a chance to silence the son who'd betrayed me. But reclaiming my stage would mean facing the curtain I'd thought had fallen forever. My name is Elena Vasquez, and if you'd told me 6 months ago that I'd be directing a play in a sold-out theater, I'd have laughed or cried. Back then, I was invisible, a ghost haunting the streets of LA. My home was the backseat of a rusted Toyota that smelled like mildew and regret. I'd park it behind fast food dumpsters for the warmth of the exhaust vents, scavenging for scraps and dignity in equal measure. How did a woman who'd once commanded standing ovations end up here? It started with love, twisted into betrayal by the one person I thought would always have my back, my son, Miguel. Miguel was my everything. I raised him alone after his father walked out when he was 5. I poured my soul into theater to provide for us, directing community plays, then climbing to regional theaters, and finally making waves in New York with bold, inclusive productions that gave voice to the voiceless. My plays tackled immigration, identity, the raw edges of the American dream. Critics called me visionary, audiences called me revolutionary. Miguel grew up backstage, learning lines before he learned to tie his shoes. By 25, he was a producer on Broadway, his star rising faster than mine ever had. But success breeds envy, even in family. When I hit 55, the industry started whispering, "Elena's past her prime." Ageism in theater is a silent killer. Roles dry up, funding vanishes. Miguel, now a powerhouse, promised to help. Instead, he cut me off. It started subtly. Missed calls, canceled lunches. Then came the bomb. He accused me publicly of being unstable, claiming my erratic behavior made me unfit for collaborations. He spread rumors through his network, agents, directors, actors, that I'd had breakdowns, that my directions were chaotic. Overnight, doors slammed shut. No one would hire me. My savings dwindled. The apartment went next. At 58, I was couch surfing with old friends until even they turned away, poisoned by Miguel's lies. Why? I learned later it was greed. Miguel had his eye on a big investor who saw me as a liability. Too controversial, too old. To seal the deal, he threw me under the bus. "Mom's not well," he'd say with feigned concern. "She needs help." The final straw, he froze my access to a joint account we'd shared for emergencies. I was left with nothing but my car and a box of old scripts. That rainy night in the alley, I was performing for tips, mostly pity change, a monologue from Hamlet, twisted to fit my life. Whether it's nobler in the mind to suffer, the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune. A few coins clinked into my hat. As the crowd dispersed, I slumped against the wall, fishing out the soggy envelope from my backpack. It had arrived at the last shelter I'd stayed in, forwarded by a kind volunteer. The return address, a law firm in Beverly Hills. I tore it open, expecting a bill or eviction notice. "Dear Miss Vasquez, we regret to inform you of the passing of Theodore Langston, your former mentor. As per his will, you are the primary beneficiary of his estate, valued at approximately $30 million, including cash, properties, and investments. However, there is a condition. You must write and direct an original play to be performed publicly within 6 months of this notification. Failure to do so will result in the estate being donated to charity." I stared at the words, rain blurring the ink. Theodore Langston. Teddy, as I'd called him. He'd been my professor in college, the one who spotted my talent and pushed me into directing. We'd lost touch after he retired to LA, becoming a reclusive playwright. Dead? And leaving me everything? It felt like a cruel joke. But the letter included a check for $50,000, seed money for the production, and instructions to contact the attorney, Rebecca Klein. My hands shook as I dialed the number from a payphone. Miss Vasquez, Rebecca's voice was crisp, professional. Mr. Langston was adamant about this. He believed in you, even when the world didn't. He followed your career, saw what happened with your son. This is his way of giving you a second act. A second act. In theater, that's the rising action, where heroes fight back. But at 60, homeless and broken, could I pull it off? The clock was ticking. 6 months to write, cast, rehearse, and stage a play. And Miguel, if he found out, he'd stop at nothing to sabotage me. The inheritance was a beacon, but the path was mined with doubt. I cashed the check the next day, my first real money in months. I rented a cheap motel room in Hollywood, nothing fancy, but it had a desk and hot water. I bought a laptop, notebooks, coffee. For the first time in years, I sat down to write. The play poured out. Shadows of the Spotlight. It was semi-autobiographical, a story of a veteran director betrayed by her ambitious protege, fighting to reclaim her voice amid industry prejudice. Themes of ageism, family betrayal, redemption. Raw, honest, with roles for diverse actors to highlight underrepresented voices. Writing was the easy part. Directing meant people, actors, crew, a venue. I reached out to old contacts discreetly. Most ignored me. Miguel's rumors had spread like wildfire. Sorry, Elena, but we've heard things. One former colleague was blunt. Miguel's blacklisting you. No one wants the drama. Desperation led me to the streets where I'd survived. I posted flyers in coffee shops and community centers. Auditions for new play, all ages, backgrounds, welcome. The response was trickle at first, a mix of aspiring actors, has-beens, and dreamers. Then came Sophia, a 22-year-old Latina firebrand with a voice like thunder. She auditioned with a monologue I'd written years ago. "You're hired," I said instantly. She became my assistant director, her energy igniting the group. We rehearsed in a borrowed warehouse in Skid Row, free but drafty and infested with rats. The cast grew. Jamal, a black transgender actor in his 40s, fighting his own battles. May, a 65-year-old Asian American actress overlooked for decades. And young talents like Diego, fresh from drama school. They were misfits, like me, hungry for a chance. Word spread. 2 months in, Miguel called. I'd blocked his number, but he used a burner. "Mom, I heard you're putting on some show. With what money? Are you okay?" His concern was fake. I could hear the edge. "I'm fine, Miguel. Better than ever." He paused. "Look, if you're in trouble, I can help. But directing again, at your age, people are talking. People always talk. Goodbye, son." That call was the warning shot. Soon after, venues started canceling on me. I'd booked a small theater in Echo Park, affordable, intimate. The owner called, "Sorry, but we've had complaints, potential disruptions." Miguel's handiwork. He was using his Broadway clout to pressure LA spots, whispering about my instability. Rebecca, the attorney, became my ally. "Teddy anticipated interference," she said over coffee. "His will includes funds for legal protection. We'll fight any sabotage." But time was short, 4 months left. We pivoted to an independent space, a converted church in Boyles Heights, run by a community group. They believed in my vision. Rehearsals intensified. The play evolved. Dialogues sharpened, scenes blocked with passion. Sophia pushed me. "Make it personal, Elena. Let them feel your pain." One night, after a grueling session, I found a note on my car. "Give up, old woman. No one's coming to your pity party." Miguel's doing? Paranoia set in. Actors reported strange calls, offers from better productions. Jamal almost quit after a fake audition lured him away. I confronted Miguel at his office, a sleek high-rise overlooking the city. He looked prosperous, suit tailored, desk gleaming. "What do you want, Mom?" I threw the truth. Why are you doing this? He leaned back. Doing what? Protecting the industry from embarrassment? You're delusional if you think you can direct again. Delusional? Like the lies you spread about my mental health? His eyes hardened. You were erratic, yelling at actors, changing scripts mid-rehearsal. I had to step in. Lies. Miguel, you did it for that investor, for your career. He stood. Get out and drop this play, or I'll make sure it flops. I left shaking but resolved. The play would expose him, not directly, but through parallels. Art as weapon. 3 months to opening. The dress rehearsals were electric. The play clocked at 2 hours. Poignant, funny, raw. Sales poured in, the run extended. Miguel approached post-show. Mom, that was